Juggalos and Juggalettes, this is your big homie Big Ian coming at you live and direct for the newest interview for Faygoluvers.net. Today I'm sitting down with Joshua Ortega, the comic book and video game writer. Josh, say hello to everybody.
Hey there, how's it going, man?
Not bad, how are you?
Good, good, thanks.
Now, Josh, we got a lot of stuff that I want to cover with you today. And so, right off the bat, I just want to cover for anybody who might not be familiar with who your work, with your work or who you are, tell us a little bit about your bio and some of the things that you've been associated with.
Yeah, I've been writing professionally now for, about 15 years going on now, and started first with the novel Frequencies that was set in the future in Seattle. Was compared to the Brave New World Fahrenheit 451 in 1984 by Village Voice Media. That got a lot of good buzz. Was originally self-published through my own company, Omega Point Productions, and then got picked up by a larger publisher. Came out in hardback in 2003. I did a whole 40-city book tour, and then that led to a bunch of comic companies paying attention. Liked the story, asked me to write comics. So my first comic book was Spiderman. Then I got to do a couple Batman stories. Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, Red Sonja, Frank Frazetta's Death Dealer, whole bunch of fun stuff. Necromancer for Top Cow, which was co-created with Francis Manipool, artist on The Flash. And then that led to video games, especially the Star Wars story I did was a Knights of the Old Republic tie-in. And that got the attention of video game folks. So I was courted by a few different video game developers and publishers and settled on Xbox and Microsoft Studios, and went in-house there for 4 years and worked on a bunch of games, Lost Odyssey, Shadow Complex 2 Human, and then got kind of the big gig, which is what I'm most probably associated with these days, most known for, is Gears of War. So I was on Gears of War for 6 years and was one of the main 3 or 4 people heading up that franchise. And then I wrote and directed the actors on Gears of War 2, also co-wrote and co-designed a lot of the levels for Gears of War 3, wrote Rom's Shadow, the first DLC, and then I also wrote the entire comic book and worked on the advertising campaign as well.
Oh wow, that's a really impressive resume, man. Now, going back specifically, like just a couple of the prime examples here, Batman is sort of a comic book favorite to a lot of juggalos. So I'm sure that a lot of them would like to know, like, what are like, was there a specific story arc or particular Batman work
Yeah,
that they can
well,
go
yeah.
check out of yours?
Here's what's funny with the Batman story. Both of the assignments that I got for Batman have actually still never seen print. Got paid for them, got hired for them, and everything, but they're still yet to come out. So they're fun ones that I hope DC, as my name kind of keeps getting bigger with Gears of War, and then now with the Other Dead coming up. It's one of those things where hopefully they'll get those guys into print because they're paid for, they own them. So, but one of the stories had to do with the gun that killed Batman's parents. So it follows actually the gun after it kills Batman and has this whole crazy story where the gun makes its way back to face Batman again at the end of the story, but he doesn't know it's the gun that actually killed his parents, and it has this whole history on it. And then the other story is the one called Fathers and Sons that does a lot about Batman and Robin's relationship, and also is the first story that would really focus on Killer Croc and show Killer Croc's origin. And it's kind of like almost a geek love. There was a book years ago. It's kind of influenced by that with what life would be like growing up in a circus.
Okay. So now shifting back to, and you had just mentioned one of the main things we want to cover today is that you are actually launching a new comic franchise coming out. You said it was this week, correct? Called The Other Dead?
Yeah, The Other Dead comes out 9/25 this Wednesday, and that is a story basically in 2 words, is zombie animals. So I think Juggalos should get a kick out of that. And it's basically The Walking Dead is human zombies, so The Other Dead is the other story, and it's the animal zombies, no human zombies, just all the animal kingdom turning into crazy flesh-eating monsters, even birds and squirrels and shit. And that was co-created with Digger T. Mesh, director of Agent 88, and also the creator of the Mini-Mates line of toys, and also with Kevin Eastman, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles creator. And then it's got great art by an up-and-coming guy named Quing Ping Me, and then Blonde is doing the colors.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about how you and the rest of these guys came together and came up with the idea for The Other Dead.
It started with Digger. It was a film treatment that Digger had done, and he gave me a look at it because I was intrigued by the idea. And then it was a pretty over-the-top, almost comedic take on it at first, and it had human zombies and animal zombies. But the thing I gravitated towards right away was the animal angle. I just said, hey, man, I don't think anybody's ever done one with just animal zombies. I think there might be a few that have human and animal, but I don't think anybody's just done animals. And so I then pulled it into that filter, and kind of, as you can see from my work on gears and whatnot, I tend to do, for the most part, straight up, kind of straightforward storytelling, more dark and horrific stuff. I mean, I did do a Family Guy thing earlier in the year, but outside of that, I'm pretty much known for dark stuff. And so I took that premise of it was real outlandish. You know, the lead characters are like a cancer kid survivor, a death metal, Norwegian death metal band guy, a stripper, like a racist ex-Army Ranger, and the President of the United States. So it's a crazy cast of characters. So my challenge was figuring out how to make that into something serious and scary rather than over the top and comedic.
I see. So now, as you're kind of fleshing out this storyline, is this something that is going to become like, is this a self-contained story arc? Is this something that you guys are trying to turn into a long-lasting comic franchise? Like, what is the scope of The Other Dead?
Scope is pretty huge. I've been told by a few folks in the industry who kind of joked with me and said this is probably the most ambitious, biggest launch for a new IP in comics ever. I don't know about that, but it might not be far from the truth, because this first story, while self-contained, is just the first part of a larger story with The Other Dead. There's at least 2 other books coming out, as well as some spin-offs. And then we're also we have a video game in development already, in talks for another one. The first one's likely to be more of an app type of game, something smaller, and then there's also a lot of potential for something big there too, like a big Xbox One type of game. And then we have 2 sculptors working on it, Joe Mena, who's great, and Sean Nagel, both amazing sculptors, are already doing sculpts. We're also talking to toy companies, to Tops, who does Skylanders and a bunch of stuff. As well as, I got a meeting with one television network next week about it, and then there's a couple film studios we have meetings with. So it's looking to be a pretty big one, considering the success of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Gears. If that's any indication, man, we could have something pretty big here.
That's awesome, man. I really can't wait to see how this franchise takes off in the next couple months. Now,
Thanks, man.
And again, circling back to, again, one of the things that I'm sure that most people would be most familiar with as some of your work is Gears of War. Now, is there anything going on in the world of Gears, like coming up, or a sequel or anything else going on in the world of Gears that you can tell your fans about right now?
Well, right now, yeah, Epic. I just talked to my buddies at Epic, and everything is just dark on Gears right now. They're not saying anything. There was an article that circulated this last week because a lot of people are asking, is there going to be Gears on Xbox One? So everyone's really excited about that. But Microsoft basically just said, that's all in Epic's court. We want a Gears of War game, but it's up to Epic, and right now Epic's not saying anything. So they're keeping wraps on everything. So we'll have to see. I mean, I would be pretty shocked if you never saw any Gears of War stuff again, because it's such a great franchise, but nothing announced yet.
Okay, all right. Well, Josh, I think that's all the questions I've got for you right now. Is there anything else, any other projects or anything you want to talk about, to all of the fans listening to this right now?
Yeah, let's see. One thing I should mention, too, I know a lot of fans out there are familiar with Cognito's work, and me and Cognito are buddies, and we're starting to put together a lot of cool stuff. We kind of nickname it the hashtag OD Takeover. And basically, we're starting to collaborate on a bunch of different projects. The Other Dead soundtrack, Cognito is going to be very involved with along with a lot of other hip-hop and metal acts. Ministry just came out and got behind the book. Boots and the Coup. We talked to Brother Lynch Hung just the other day about it, and so tons of musicians are coming out in support of the book. And Cognito and I will actually be appearing this Saturday for Northern Cali fans. He'll be at the Sacramento Comic-Con. He'll be actually his first appearance at a Comic-Con, and I'll be signing copies of the book. He'll be signing CDs and posters and stuff. So come check us out there. That's Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, 28th, I believe. And That's a big one. Then I also have a number of other projects that'll be coming out next year. A real dark take on superheroes. I got a werewolf story. A whole bunch of stuff coming out next year. So best place to check on updates is joshuaortega.com. And I'm also on Facebook at Joshua Ortega 88 and Twitter at Joshua Ortega 88.
Awesome. Mr. Ortega, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview, man. I'm really excited about a lot of the projects you have coming out in the near future, and I'm sure that we'll be hearing more about you very soon.
Hey, thanks, man. And to all the juggalos out there, man, love what you guys are doing. I think you're going to dig this, especially the collaboration with Anarchy Nation. And you guys can email me through the joshuaortega.com site. Just check for that little contact button. Emails go straight to me, so feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Juggalos and Juggalettes, has been Joshua Ortega and Big Ian. We're out.